this Terence Crawford, Errol Spence situation is very frustrating for boxing fans because we all want to see the fight. It'll be a mega fight. But unfortunately, as with so many situations similar to this, it has descended into a battle of egos, a battle between the promotional companies and their different interests, and an argument over the purse split, with Errol Spence saying that he should get 70% or at least 60% of the money, with Crawford only getting 30 or 40%. Now, I have to acknowledge, I don't know the exact figures, but I have to acknowledge the fact that Errol Spence is a bigger name. Is he a bigger name? Well, he's a bigger commercial draw. That's the way I'll put it. He's a bigger commercial draw than Terence Crawford is. I don't know what Errol Spence's purses have been for his last few fights. Now, you can throw 2020 out because 2020 is a mess in terms of economics and what have you. But 2019, 2018, what was Terence Crawford making per fight? I know he's got this guarantee. He had this guarantee from Bob Arum. What was he making per fight compared to what Errol Spence has been making per fight? Is Errol Spence literally making double what Terence Crawford is making? Maybe he is. And if that's the case, then 60-40 is actually generous. So if he's making 50% more, let's say he gave Terence Crawford 60-40, 40 times 2 is 80, right? So that would actually be 10% more than 20% more, than what Errol Spence would be getting if it was a 60-40 split. Same way, if it was 70-30, it would still be generous towards Terence Crawford if Errol Spence is actually earning double what Crawford's earning. So that is very frustrating because in a way you can't really criticize Errol Spence too much for demanding that money, although he is thinking about money. He's not trying to compromise any just to get the fight on and just to solidify a legacy. I guess he feels secure in his legacy already. But the same could be said for Terence Crawford, because in this interview here, he says, here we go. He said, quote, "He almost sounds like he thinks I'm desperate. Is he desperate for the fight? Hell no. I'm in a good place in my life right now. I'm having fun, chilling out, having kids and enjoying my kids. I don't worry about these things I can't control, about things I can't control. I mean, like everybody, always got an opinion, and I just laugh a lot of people's opinions that said I haven't fought anybody. I just laugh like this guy. He's on his high horse. Maybe that wreck knocked a couple of screws loose." And yeah, he just goes on to talk about how he's going to do his own thing. He says, "Talk is good. I don't know what's with him and his team, team's agenda, blah, blah, blah." You guys can go read this article for yourselves, the interview on boxingscene.com. But the basic gist of it is he's going to carry on with his own career and carve out his own legacy with or without Spence. And that sounds great, but unfortunately, he doesn't seem to have a good relationship with his promoter, Bob Arum. And as such, how hard is Bob Arum really going to push for him to have any major fights? And it's unfortunate in the 147 pound weight division that most of the action is over on PBC. Terence Crawford's out there on his own on Top Rank. So he's really limited in terms of who he can fight. I mean, they're even talking about him stepping up potentially to 154 to try and take on some people. He's very good, as we know, Terence Crawford. Would that be a step too far? Because the difference in size between the top level guys at 154 and the top level guys at welterweight is massive. I mean, the size difference is crazy. It's almost like going up 2 weight divisions rather than 1. Now, even though it's, 4, 5, 7 pounds, right? Difference between 154 and 147. I think there's a lot more than 7 pounds between the average welterweight and the average 154 fighter when they get in the ring. You look at somebody like Jamel Charlo. I mean, he's massive compared to most of the welterweights like Terence Crawford and what have you. Even Jaime Munguia when he was at 154. These guys are huge. Remember when Jaime Munguia fought Saddam Ali? Saddam Ali's a welterweight. I mean, the size difference was crazy. So I don't know about Terence Crawford moving up to 154. I know he's got the skill, but at some stage, there is a point where your skill is overcome by, the certain amount of skill your opponent has, but also the size. So you might be more skilled than a guy, but there comes a point when the guy is just so big that your skill can't overcome it. Is that 154? And I'm talking about at the top level for Terence Crawford. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, for example, Vasyl Lomachenko kind of hit that ceiling potentially against Teofimo Lopez, although Lomachenko's been saying a lot of stuff recently, hasn't he? He doesn't take losing very well. But let me know what you guys think about this situation. Very frustrating. Again, I can't really say anybody's necessarily in the wrong. Terence Crawford is a multi-division world champion. He holds himself in high regard, as he should. He's not some guy who hasn't been trying to fight the best. He's been trying to fight the best. But unfortunately, because of politics and egos and all this kind of stuff, he hasn't been able to get the fights he wanted at 147. And even at 140, when they were talking about the Pacquiao fight, Bob Arum kept Pacquiao away from Terence Crawford. That fight right there, Crawford versus Pacquiao, it could have taken Crawford to the next level in terms of stardom, in terms of purses and all that kind of stuff. It's really unfortunate that that fight didn't happen. Bob Arum did him a disservice, but I guess he was working in Pacquiao's best interest, right? So, yeah, unfortunate situation. It is what it is. Let me know what you guys think about that one. Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.